Chapter 525. Seeing Xiaobao standing anxiously in front of the elevator, a beautiful female employee immediately walked over and said in a very gentle tone, "Young master, do you want to go upstairs or go down? I'll press the elevator button for you." Xiaobao frowned and thought for a moment. Aunt Xiaoxi was already downstairs. Maybe she was also waiting for the elevator. If he took the elevator at this time, what would he do if he got lost? Well, although it was very urgent, he'd better wait here. Thus, the little fellow did not say a word and stood quietly at the entrance of the elevator, waiting. As for the female employee next to him, he was so focused on Aunt Xiaoxi that he didn't notice her existence at all, let alone hear her talk. The beautiful female employee was a little embarrassed when the little prince ignored her. Although she was unwilling, she didn't dare to annoy the little prince, so she coughed lightly and stepped aside, not daring to disturb him again. Several female employees on the opposite side sneered, "It's funny, flattering the little prince. She thinks she's great just because she's a little beautiful. Boss Lu never looks at her, but she actually wants to hit on the little prince. You know, the little prince is more difficult to please than Boss Lu, okay? Isn't that so? I've heard that many socialites tried to hit on the little prince for the title of the first lady of the capital, but all of them came back dejectedly. Not only that, they were directly warned by the Lu family. Well, by the way, what's the relationship between our legendary future boss's wife and the little prince? I think she's good at pleasing men, but it doesn't mean she'll be liked by children." That's right. Children are generally very resistant to the existence of stepmothers. I think it's better to see if she's the future boss's wife. Xiaobao was motionless, standing at the door of the elevator expressionlessly, neither going up nor going down. Just now, Eri was given a cold shoulder, so no one dared to go up and ask. They could only look at him secretly, and the more they looked, the more curious they became. What the hell is the little prince doing? He's been standing in front of the elevator for a long time. I don't know. I can't figure it out at all. Tut, tut, tut. I only knew that our boss Lu's heart was as deep as the sea, but I didn't expect that the little prince even inherited this from his father. He's completely unpredictable. At this time, there was a ding sound. The elevator door opened. A person walked out of the elevator. Little Bun's expressionless face suddenly lit up, but in the next second, when he saw the person who walked out, his face immediately darkened. Young master? Do you need anything?" A male employee walked out of the elevator with a face full of fear because of the little prince's sharp gaze. How did he offend this little god? Little Baozi pursed his lips and didn't say a word. His little face was incomparably ugly, and his cold aura was simply not inferior to his biological father's. That male employee had an uneasy expression on his face. Seeing that the little prince wasn't saying anything, he didn't know whether to leave or stay. Cold sweat started to drip down his forehead. Time passed, and the crown prince's complexion grew worse and worse. Everyone looked at each other in dismay, worried that if the crown prince was in a bad mood, they would be in trouble. Just as the atmosphere became more and more tense, the elevator door opened again with a ding. There was no one else in the elevator, only a long-haired woman wearing a light yellow sweater and a white mask walked out. Chapter 526. Seeing the little prince suddenly changed from the terrible king of hell to a cute little thing, almost all the employees were stunned. She stepped out of the elevator and was about to walk forward. She didn't expect to see the adorable little bun waiting at the elevator entrance when she looked down. Naturally, she couldn't resist it at all. She immediately bent down, held the little bun in her arms, and kissed the little bun's cheek through the mask. "Baby, are you waiting for me?" The little bun put his arms around Annie Xiaoxi's neck and smelled the reassuring fragrance of Annie Xiaoxi. His pink cheeks turned red, and he pursed his lips and nodded very obediently and cutely. All the employees on the scene were still stunned. The plot changed so fast that they couldn't keep up with the rhythm at all. She picked up the little bun. "Has your papa finished his work? Let's go and see him, okay?" Since she was here, she couldn't just run away with the little bun in her arms. She had to say hello to his father. Although the little bun wanted Annie Xiaoxi to take him to the end of the world and never come back, He certainly wouldn't refuse her and continued to nod obediently. Whatever Auntie Xiaoxi said was right. Ningxi touched the little bun's head with a smile and walked towards the president's office. Along the way, she naturally noticed countless hot breaths around and felt lucky that she had worn a mask in advance. As soon as they entered, the people behind them were in an uproar. Ah, my God. Little Prince is so cute. I thought the little prince was as cold as Boss Lu. I didn't expect he could be so cute. When he smiled and opened his little hands to ask for a hug, my heart almost melted. If I had such a cute son, even if he wanted the stars in the sky, I would pick them for him. Come on, you wish. Take a look at your rough face in the mirror. Do you have such good genes for your child? Fuck, I'm really curious. Who is that woman wearing a mask? He should be the same one who came to the company last time, right? Judging from the figure and hairstyle, it's definitely the same person, but I don't know who it is. Oh, I'm so sad. Looks like she's definitely going to be the lady boss. Even the little prince has been settled. This is simply incredible. At this moment, a young girl in the corner raised her hand weakly. I suddenly have a bold idea. Could this woman be the little prince's biological mother? Otherwise, it doesn't make sense for the little crown prince to be so attached to her. The girl's speculation had undoubtedly opened the door to a whole new world for everyone. Everyone immediately burst into an intense discussion. On the other side, after Ningxi carried Little Bun into the office, she was dumbfounded. Looking at Lu Jingli, who was wearing a flowery shirt and a short grass skirt on the sofa, her surprise was exactly the same as when Lu Jingli saw his brother wearing red. Holy shit. Second young master. You're back. When did you come back? Holy shit. Look at you. My eyes are about to go blind. Even if you're good looking, you can't challenge the limits of aesthetics like this, right? And why do you look like you've been hollowed out? Are there too many hot girls on the island? Chapter 527. Why do you look as if you've been hollowed out? Are there too many hot girls on the island? Ningxi asked while covering Little Bun's ears so as not to lead Little Bun astray. Seeing that Ningxi had arrived, Lu Jingli rolled to his feet and glared at Xiaobao. His face was full of indignation as he complained. You have the nerve to ask me. Go ask your brat how he tortured me just now. A certain steamed bun blinked innocently with a face full of innocence. Ningxi looked at Lu Jingli and then at Little Bun. Of course, she believed Little Bun. Don't talk nonsense. What does it have to do with my baby? Lu Jingli looked at the little devil, who looked innocent like a little angel and was very angry. Hey, brat, stop pretending. Stop pretending. I'll expose your true colors. With that, Lu Jingli took out the writing board that Little Bun had just thrown on the ground and stuffed it into Ningxi's hands with a sinister smile. See for yourself. See for yourself. If you still don't believe me, go and ask my brother. This afternoon, my brother and I were almost crazy because of him. Ningxi glanced at Lu Tingxiao, who seemed to be very tired at the desk, and then suspiciously picked up the writing board that Lu Jingli had stuffed into her hands. Seeing Ningxi holding his writing board, Little Bun was so anxious that he almost cried. Unfortunately, it was too late to stop her. Ningxi casually flipped through the writing board and saw what was written on it. Does Aunt Xiaoxi not want me anymore? Then why hasn't she come to pick me up yet? When will Aunt Xiaoxi finish her work? No. I'll disturb Aunt Xiaoxi. Does Aunt Xiaoxi really like me? Will Aunt Xiaoxi suddenly dislike me? Aunt Xiaoxi hasn't come to pick me up yet. Is it possible that she likes other children? Will Aunt Xiaoxi always like me? Am I Aunt Xiaoxi's favorite baby? Ningxi was completely dumbfounded. She held Xiaobao's writing board in her hand and stood there motionlessly. After all, Xiaobaozi used to write very concisely and clearly. To be honest, it was the first time that she had seen Xiaobaozi write so many words, and the book was full of Aunt Xiaoxi and her. Imagining how Lu Tingxiao and Lu Jingli would collapse under his questions, Ningxi was amused. However, more than that, she was touched beyond words, and her whole soul was warmed by his words. Ningxi squatted down and hugged Xiaobao tightly. Woo. Steamed bun. Why is my steamed bun so cute? Aunt Xiaoxi loves you so much. Aunt Xiaoxi will never suddenly dislike you. Aunt Xiaoxi will never like other children. Aunt Xiaoxi will always like you. You are Aunt Xiaoxi's favorite baby. Aunt Xiaoxi will never abandon you. Xiaobao, who was still sad and desperate, suddenly fluttered his little wings. Lu Tingxiao, who was abused by his son again, was speechless. His son once again heard the sweet words he wanted, and there were so many at once. Lu Jingli, who went for wool and came home shorn, burst into tears. Even the coquettish grass skirt on his waist withered and lost its vitality. This heartless world. Do you have any humanity? It was okay that the older one abused him, but now even the younger one came to abuse him. The only consolation was, well, this time the older one was abused too. Chapter 528. By the way, second young master, why are you back so early? I thought you were going to stay for 3 months. Ningxi raised her eyebrows and asked. Lu Jingli rested his chin on his hand and shook his legs. He snorted and said, I came back because I was worried about you. But you took turns to abuse me as soon as you came back. Ningxi gave a fake smile. Haha, she would be a fool to believe him. Seeing that she didn't believe him, Lu Jingli couldn't stand it anymore. The hair on his head fluttered weakly in the wind. Well, it's too boring on the island. It's a pleasure to stay for a few days, but I'll go crazy if I stay too long. My unrestrained soul belongs to the lively modern metropolis and the hot girls in the motherland. Ningxi was speechless. She knew it. Lu Jingli soon became excited again. His eyes sparkled. Oh yes, my friends are going to hold a welcome party for me tonight. Do you and my brother want to come and play together? Ningxi held the little bun in her arms and refused without hesitation. No, I have to take care of the child. Lu Jingli immediately said, Bring the child too. Ningxi glared at him and finally couldn't take it anymore. Lu Jingli, are you trying to get yourself killed again? She wondered who had brought Xiaobao to the bar last time and lost him. Lu Jingli shrank his neck and said weakly, Xiao Sisi, the way you shout at me, you sound more and more like my sister-in-law. You, wasn't she angered by him? Seeing that Ningxi was really angry, Lu Jingli hurriedly explained, It's not in the bar this time. It's in my villa, and we're all very familiar friends, so I won't go too far. Ningxi looked a little relieved, but she didn't say anything. Don't ask me. Ask your brother. I'll listen to him. Lu Jingli was unhappy. Why? Why do you listen to him and not me? Ningxi said, Nonsense, he's my boss. Lu Jingli said, But I'm still your boss. Ningxi said, But he's still your boss. Lu Jingli was speechless. You're bullying me again and again. In the end, Lu Jingli angrily turned to Lu Tingxiao, who had been silent all this while. Brother, say it. Lu Tingxiao raised his head and glanced at Ningxi. I'm fine with it. You decide. What he meant was that he would listen to his wife. Lu Jingli could only look at Ningxi. Ningxi scratched her head. Well, I'll ask Xiaobao. Xiaobao, do you want to play? Ningxi expressed that she would listen to Little Bun. The food chain was so clear, of course, Xiaobao didn't want to go. He wanted to be with Aunt Xiaoxi. But when she looked into Papa's eyes, she thought of the big plan for the future, for the long-term future. Xiaobao nodded with difficulty, indicating that he wanted to play. She continued to hold back her tears and create opportunities for Papa and Auntie Xiaoxi to get along with each other. Boo-hoo. Seeing that Little Bun wanted to go, Ningxi immediately said, Okay then, let's go too? Okay. Lu Tingxiao nodded. He would go with them. Lu Jingli, the single dog, stood up weakly. I'll find someone I love deeply and want to love dearly to bid farewell to being single. I'll find a passionate, infatuated, heartless person to scar me, he sang as he left this place that made him sad. Before he left, he didn't forget to return good for evil and gave her and Xiaobao each a big coconut, which was said to be a souvenir. Ningxi held the coconut in her arms and the corner of her mouth twitched. Mr. Boss, I'll take Xiaobao back to the apartment first. I need to change my clothes and meet you at second young master's place. Lu Tingxiao nodded. Okay, go ahead. If Lu Tingxiao knew what she changed, he would definitely not continue to listen to his wife's words. Chapter 529. Pearl River Imperial View. After returning to the apartment, Ningxi was a little worried. The people attending Lu Jingli's party were all her acquaintances, including Lu Tingxiao's acquaintances. As the boss of Shangshi Entertainment, there must be a lot of people in the entertainment circle. If she were alone, it would be fine. In the eyes of the public, she was a direct descendant of Lu Jingli, so it was normal for her to attend the party. But now she had Xiaobao with her, and Lu Tingxiao would also be there. It wouldn't be appropriate for the three of them to be in the same frame, right? Why did she feel that she had been cheated by Lu Jingli? Damn it. It seemed that she had really been cheated. Damn it. Lu Jingli was so stupid. She had been cheated by him, of course. It was impossible. Ningxi's eyes lit up, and she suddenly had an idea. Xiaobao, I need to put on makeup and change clothes. It may take a while. Wait a minute. Xiaobao nodded without complaint and went outside to wait. After a while, Ningxi pushed open the bedroom door. At this moment, Ningxi was wearing a black biker jacket, washed and torn jeans, and black boots with willow studs. His slightly messy and unruly short hair, and the corners of his mouth were raised. He was simply the kind of bad and handsome guy that girls couldn't stand. Xiaobao, who was sitting quietly on the sofa, heard the sound of the door opening. She immediately turned her head, and then blinked again and again. Although Aunt Xiaoxi was so dressed that he couldn't recognize her at all, Little Bun still recognized her at a glance, and with a curious look, he walked over and excitedly walked around Ningxi several times. Finally, he picked up the writing board and hesitantly wrote a few words. Uncle, Xiaoxi? Seeing the words on Xiaobao's writing board, Ningxi's face darkened. No, it's brother Xiaoxi. In fact, she wanted to complain for a long time. Who taught Xiaobao to call her aunt? It sounded like she was old. She was clearly a sister, okay? Well, it didn't seem right to call her sister. Was there a difference in seniority between her and Lu Tingxiao's? It seemed that there was no need to ask who made Xiaobao call her aunt. But now that she had changed her clothes, she might as well let her enjoy pretending to be young. Bao Tang, do I look handsome in this outfit? Ningxi flipped her hair and posed elegantly. Little Bun nodded her head decisively and wrote the word handsome on the writing board in big bold letters. Night fell. At the Supreme Platinum Palace No. 7. Lu Jingli's villa was right next to his brother's. At this moment, there was already a row of luxury cars parked in front of the villa. It was enough to hold a luxury car show. Young and beautiful men and women got out of the cars one after another, talking and laughing as they walked in. Inside the villa, music was playing, and the lights were brightly lit. It was already lively. Lu Jingli didn't lie before. This time, all the people who came were acquaintances. There were many couples and young couples. There were even a few with children. Although it was a party, it was just a gathering of friends. Naturally, it wouldn't be too exaggerated. Of course, with such a good opportunity, there were naturally many people who had other thoughts. Very soon, a few beautiful women began to stick to Lu Jingli and began to inquire about the news. Second young master, didn't you say that your brother is coming tonight? Why don't I see anyone? Really? Really? Would Boss Lu really come? But I heard that Boss Lu has been very busy recently. Chapter 530. I think so. President Lu lives next door. He's just here to stay for a while. It won't take long. Even if it's for second young master's sake, he'll definitely come. Second young master? Second young master, will Brother Xiao come or not? Tell us. Lu Jingli, who was surrounded by everyone, snorted unhappily. Are you guys here to see me or my brother? We. Of course we're here to see you. We haven't seen you in a long time. Everyone misses you so much. Lu Jingli's handsome face was stiff. Hypocrite. In order to not be outdone by his brother's red outfit, Lu Jingli shamelessly wore a fresh pink outfit tonight. He looked like an incomparably delicious strawberry-flavored candy. At this moment, he raised his peach blossom eyes and complained to them angrily. Suddenly, all the beauties' hearts were moved. They temporarily put Lu Tingxiao at the back of their minds and began to circle around him. It's true, it's true. Second young master, everyone has been bored to death when you weren't around. We're all looking forward to your return. Second young master, your clothes look so good. It suits you so well. You're so handsome. I haven't seen you for a few days. Why are you so handsome again? Listening to the praise in his ears, Lu Jingli was finally pacified. However, just as his handsome face was about to raise a complacent smile, suddenly, from the door, waves of screams spread out one after another. Ah, it's EO Lu. Brother Xiao. Brother Xiao is really here. Oh my god. Master Xiao is actually wearing red today. Someone help me up. I'm going to faint. Lu Jingli, who was instantly ignored, was speechless. This heartless world. Since there was a Yu, why was there a Liang? Was it because he was always so handsome that everyone was tired of looking at him? It looked like he had to change his routine in the future. First, he would be cold for half a month. Then he would suddenly be flirtatious. The effect would definitely be shocking. Just as he was thinking about this, he saw his brother walking towards him with a cold expression on his face. It was as if every step he took was made of ice. Lu Jingli immediately became listless. Forget it. He'd better continue acting coquettishly and not challenge such a difficult task. Lu Tingxiao ignored the fiery eyes around him, walked straight to Lu Jingli and sat down on the high stool beside him. Where is Ningxi? Lu Jingli was speechless. You only know how to ask about your wife the moment you arrive. Not yet. Lu Jingli replied. Because the person who came was Lu Tingxiao, who could only be watched from afar and not touched. No matter how excited the beauties around them were, they didn't dare to rashly greet him. They only dared to look at him from afar and whisper to each other. Of course, there was no lack of bold and confident ones. In the crowd, a girl in a maroon dress walked up to him. Mr. Lu, long time no see. Lu Tingxiao looked at the girl who was standing in front of him with a wine glass in her hand. He frowned slightly, and a trace of coldness flashed in his deep eyes. His gaze, which was as cold as snow, suddenly fell on his own brother. Because of his brother's sudden glare, Lu Jingli almost choked on his wine. When he took a closer look, he was dumbfounded. Fuck. This is bad. Why is this woman here? This. Isn't this Shuangkuer? She was one of the daughter-in-law that his parents were most satisfied with. She was known as the #1 socialite in the capital and was also the woman who was most likely to become Lu Tingxiao's wife. Chapter 531. Lu Jingli did not expect Shuangkuer to show up tonight. He immediately looked like he was in deep trouble. It's none of my business. I didn't invite her. However, just as he was thinking about this, Lu Jingli inadvertently glanced at the crowd and became even more confused. Fuck. What's going on? He suddenly realized that more than half of the beauties who came tonight were secretly eyeing his brother. There were also quite a few women on the matchmaking list that his parents were working on. Although he did not invite these people, he could not stop them from bringing their female companions and friends. They were already so familiar with each other, and he could not possibly refuse them, right? Therefore, he really could not blame himself for this. He could only blame his brother for attracting too many women and butterflies. The confrontation between Lu Tingxiao and Lu Jingli only lasted for a moment. In the eyes of outsiders, Lu Tingxiao's expression did not change at all. After glancing at the girl in front of him, he said, Miss Shuang. Then, he said nothing else. However, the fact that she was not directly ignored was enough to make everyone jealous. Shuangkuer was already satisfied. She loosened her slightly nervous fingers and smiled. She conveniently sat down on the seat next to her and started chatting with Lu Tingxiao. I'm really sorry about what happened last time. My parents said that they were just bringing me to meet a few familiar uncles and aunties. I didn't expect. Mr. Lu, you don't mind, do you? Lu Tingxiao once went to an inspection of a newly opened resort. At that time, Lu Chongshan and Yin Rui went to the resort under the guise of going on a vacation with friends. At that time, the two elders of the Zhuang family and Shuangkuer were with them. As the host and the younger generation, Lu Tingxiao naturally had to entertain them, and that was when he met Shuangkuer. Obviously, Lu Chongshan and Yin Rui's vacation was fake, and the blind date was real. They even planned it well. After the two children met each other, they would directly go to the resort and have some fun to cultivate their relationship. Who knew that on that day, Lu Tingxiao only accompanied them for less than half an hour before he left because of an urgent matter at the company. Lu Tingxiao said casually, "It's fine." If he hadn't seen it again today, he would have forgotten about it. Naturally, he wouldn't mind it. Zhuang Kuo smiled as if a heavy burden had been lifted from her shoulders. "That's good. At that time, I was worried that you would be put in a difficult position. After all, this kind of thing is indeed quite embarrassing. I didn't know about it at that time, so I understood your feelings." Zhuang Kuo did not mention the blind date at all. She did not lead the topic in an ambiguous direction, nor did she show any interest in Lu Tingxiao. Instead, she chatted with Lu Tingxiao as if they were both in the same boat. In this way, even if Lu Tingxiao was just being a gentleman, he would not embarrass her too much, and it would be easy for him to gain a favorable impression. Seeing that Zhuang Kuo and Lu Tingxiao were chatting happily, the other women at the party who came for Lu Tingxiao couldn't help but feel indignant. Is there a mistake? It's not easy for Brother Xiao to attend this kind of party, but she completely dominated him by herself. Sigh, that's the good thing about having a good family background. Because she has the confidence, she doesn't have to have stage fright when striking up a conversation. Her every move is generous and elegant. As expected of the number one socialite in Beijing. What number one socialite in Beijing? She just went up to hook up with a man in front of so many people. Didn't she just have a meal with someone? She makes it sound like the Lu family has already acknowledged her. Chapter 532. When Lu Jingli thought that little Cici would be coming later, he was so worried that she might see something she shouldn't see. He was so worried that he didn't even have the mood to flirt with her. He carefully moved closer to his brother and tentatively said, "Brother, about sister-in-law, shall I find an excuse to stop her from coming?" Lu Tingxiao's slender fingers tapped the armrest rhythmically. Finally, he said, "She should be on her way now. I'll send her a message later and ask her to come to my place." He couldn't take any risks in this kind of thing. With that, he stood up and looked like he was about to leave. Zhuang Kuo only saw Lu Tingxiao and Lu Jingli whispering something to each other. As soon as they finished, they were about to leave. No matter how calm they looked, they inevitably revealed a trace of disappointment and embarrassment. "Mr. Lu, you're leaving so soon? Don't you want to hang out for a while? Is there something urgent?" Hearing this, everyone around them pricked up their ears. What? Lu Tingxiao was leaving? So soon? It hadn't even been 5 minutes, right? His brother had only been here for 5 minutes, and he was about to leave. Lu Jingli was really embarrassed. However, he really didn't do a good job today. So annoying. Why is Brother Xiao leaving so soon? He must be annoyed by Zhuang Kuo. Most likely. President Lu likes peace and quiet. We all respect President Lu, but we don't dare to go up and disturb him. But she went up there and made people hate her. We didn't even have a chance to watch from afar. So annoying. Can she do whatever she wants just because she has a good family background? Listening to the discussion around her, Zhuang Kuo felt a little embarrassed. These damn women. What nonsense were they talking about? Lu Tingxiao didn't leave because he was annoyed by her. The last time they met, she was shocked. She had already decided that the man in front of her would be her. Now that she finally got to see him, how could she give up so easily? She was the daughter of the Zhuang family. Even if she was placed with the Lu family, no matter who it was, they would have to say that their families were well matched. In the entire capital, she dared to say that no one was more compatible with Lu Tingxiao than she was. Except for Lu Tingxiao, she didn't like any other man. Since young, as long as she wanted something, she would never get it. This time, it was the same. Moreover, there must be fate between them. Tonight, she had just returned from abroad and found out from a friend that Lu Jingli had also returned to China. He was going to have a party, and it was said that Lu Tingxiao would be there as well. After she arrived, she saw Lu Tingxiao. Not only that, Lu Tingxiao, who usually wore cool colors, was wearing a maroon suit today, which was the same color as her dress today. It was a perfect match. The moment she saw him, she was so excited that her heart almost melted. She was even more stunned than the first time she saw him. This man, she absolutely had to get it. Thinking of this, Zhuangku suddenly regained her confidence. She stepped on her 12-centimeter high heels and chased after Lu Tingxiao. Mr. Lu, please wait. Because Zhuangku was wearing heels that were too high today, and the edge of the swimming pool was a little damp, she slipped as she walked quickly. In the next second, she lost her balance and was about to fall into the pool next to her in a sorry state. At that moment, Zhuangku's face was full of fear and despair. She could almost see the mocking and ridiculing eyes around her, waiting for her to make a fool of herself. No, no. Just as Zhuangku shuddered and closed her eyes, her face ashen, in the next second, a black figure suddenly rushed over like lightning. Although a slightly slender but steady and strong arm firmly supported her waist, the arm pulled her into his embrace. He flipped her over and successfully saved her before she fell into the water. Not far away, Lu Jingli stared blankly at the young man, who was like the male lead in a romance novel. He was like a deity who had descended from the heavens and saved Zhuangku handsomely. The wine glass in his hand fell to the bar with a clang. Sister-in-law? Chapter 533. The man who had rescued Zhuangku from the shore was wearing a black jacket. His short hair was messy, and his face was so delicate and charming that it was hard to tell whether he was a man or a woman. The most attractive part was his glass-like eyes, which looked lazy and frivolous, revealing a carefree and uninhibited feeling of playing games in the world. In fact, he was so indifferent that it seemed as if nothing could enter his heart. But even though he was heartless, it was still moving. This man was simply a demon that could charm all living things. Zhuangku thought that she was dead meat this time. With her proud personality, it was hard for her to imagine what would happen if she really fell into the water today. She didn't expect that she would actually come back from death's door. That pair of strong arms supported her waist, and a refreshing aura enveloped her. She subconsciously raised her head and met a pair of beautiful eyes that could captivate one's soul. Are you okay? This man was different from those men who would deliberately create accidents to take advantage of her, even if there were no accidents. After she stabilized her body, he didn't delay for even a second and let go of her body, maintaining a certain distance. Moreover, he very carefully kept her away from the shore and stood in the direction of the pool. Looking at the person in front of her, Zhuangku's heart beat wildly. Thank you. The corners of the man's lips curled up slightly, rippling waves of seductive ripples. It's my honor. Zhuangku's shoes had been twisted earlier, and the buckle had come loose. After the man finished speaking, he very naturally bent down and helped her buckle her shoes, then reached out a hand towards the girl. Zhuangku's fingers trembled slightly. She hesitated for a moment, then slowly extended her palm over. Just as she touched the man's fingers, her cheeks immediately flushed uncontrollably. Other than holding her with his palm, the man didn't have any other physical contact with her. He slowly helped her to sit on a chair at the side. Originally, all the onlookers were looking forward to seeing how ugly Zhuangku, the insufferably arrogant capital's #1 socialite, would be when she chased after a man until he fell into the water in front of everyone. They never expected that at this moment, a person would suddenly appear out of thin air, and this person was extremely fast. No one knew when he had appeared. Those girls who were originally complaining about which stinky man had come out to spoil things were all so excited that their cheeks were flushed red and dizzy. They couldn't even speak properly. So handsome. Who is that man? Someone from the industry? Why haven't I seen it before? A certain socialite asked around with a blushing face. I don't know either. His skills were so good. That movement just now was simply too fast. It's just like the Qinggong on TV. I've already seen Second Young Master and President Liu. I thought I was immune to handsome men. But what was going on? Why is my heart beating so fast? Damn it. Me too. I seem to have fallen in love at first sight. Who was that person? When did second young master make such a friend? Ningxi's disguise skills were top-notch. It was impossible for acquaintances to recognize her. Of course, there were exceptions. The moment the girl appeared, Lu Tingxiao recognized her at first glance. As for Lu Jingli, he naturally didn't have that ability. He only thought of Ningxi because he saw little Bao following behind Ningxi at this moment, looking at the completely uncontrollable development in front of him, looking at Zhuangku Air staring at Ningxi with an increasingly strange gaze, looking at the group of young girls being infatuated with Ningxi, and even pestering him to ask about Ningxi's identity. Lu Jingli's brain had already crashed, and he was completely dumbfounded. Amazing. My brother. Apui. It's sister-in-law. Chapter 534. After helping Zhuangku Air to sit down, Ningxi didn't leave immediately. Instead, he asked the waiter to bring her a pair of flat shoes and ointment for treating sprains. He carefully taught Zhuangku Air how to use it and then got up to leave. Ningxi was always ruthless to scumbags like the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves. But to cute and weak girls, she was absolutely gentle. For her, girls were born to be loved. In a sense, Jiang Mai was right. One of Ningxi's biggest hidden characteristics was that she had tender feelings for girls. In a trance, Zhuangku listened to what the person in front of her was saying to her, but in fact, she didn't hear a word. Seeing that the man was about to leave, she subconsciously grabbed the corner of his clothes. Wait. Ningxi stopped and cast a suspicious look at her. The curve of her eyebrows was like a small hook that could hook people's hearts. Zhuangku Air's voice trembled slightly. I still don't quite understand. Can you help me? Ningxi's eyebrows continued to rise slightly. Her eyes seemed to see through people's hearts. As soon as Zhuangku Air finished her words, she showed an extremely regretful look. Damn it, what was she doing? How could she make such a request? However, she couldn't control herself. She just subconsciously didn't want the man in front of her to leave. Of course, Ningxi couldn't embarrass the girl in public. He squatted down on one knee and gently held the girl's white ankle. It may hurt a little. Bear with it. If you don't use force, the blood clot won't disappear. When you go back, remember to press these 2 acupoints. Do 3 sets of 5 times according to my method until you start to feel hot. Got it? Yes, I got it. Zhuangku Air, who had always been arrogant, nodded obediently. Even her voice became much softer. Whether it was Lu Jingli, who was as dazzling as the sun, or Lu Tingxiao, who was as cold and aloof as a king in the Middle Ages, they were both at the pinnacle of power, just like the nobles of ancient times. However, the man in front of her had a completely different temperament. He was like a lone wolf in the boundless grassland, unfettered by the shackles of the world, unfettered by anything, and untamed by anyone. Even though he was in a bustling metropolis, he was still unruly, free like a gust of wind that no one could catch. He could be infinitely gentle to you, but he would never stop for you. This was something that young ladies like Zhuangku had never seen or experienced before. It was almost inevitable that they would fall into it. Not far away, Lu Jingli was completely stunned. Too powerful. Sister-in-law was too good at seducing girls. When she unleashed her ultimate move, the entire world seemed to lose its color. Even I had to admit my inferiority. Could it be that it was because women understood women better than women? This was simply invincible. If I were a woman, I wouldn't be able to take it. As soon as he finished speaking, a cold air that almost penetrated into the bone suddenly attacked him from the side. Lu Jingli shivered, cautiously glanced at his brother, and immediately fell silent. Lu Tingxiao, who was about to leave, quietly watched the scene in front of him. The cold air slowly overflowed from the bottom of his eyes, and his marble-like face gradually froze. There seemed to be a long bar on top of his head representing the value of anger, and at this moment, the value was slowly rising. He was always cautious because he was afraid that his wife would misunderstand him. He never expected that all the vinegar would be consumed by himself. His blind date had inexplicably become his rival in love. Chapter 535. On the other side, Ning Shi's heroic rescue of the damsel in distress was finally over. She held Little Bun's hand and walked towards Lu Tingxiao and Lu Jingli. The power of beauty was too strong. It was not until then that everyone realized that Ning Shi was accompanied by a cuddly little dumpling. Because they were all familiar faces, many of them recognized Little Bun's identity. That little boy. Isn't he Boss Lu's son? He's Boss Lu's son. I saw him once at Old Master Lu's birthday party. Why is the young master of the Lu family so close to this man? Is this man a relative of the Lu family? He doesn't have to be a relative. Anyway, he must be very close to Lu Tingxiao and Lu Jingli. If they are so close, why haven't I seen this person before? This is so strange. Such an arrogant and unruly handsome man holding a soft and cute little dumpling in his hand. The contrast was so cute that it was like an arrow piercing through the heart. It successfully caused another round of screams. After Ning Shi changed into men's clothes, even her behavior naturally changed to that of a man. After she walked over, she directly put her arm around Lu Tingxiao's shoulder as a greeting and then stuffed Little Bun into his arms. "You're here so early?" Lu Tingxiao's face darkened. His thin lips opened slightly as if he wanted to say something, but in the end, he said nothing and looked helpless. In the end, Lu Jingli couldn't help but start to complain. "Little Cece, what are you doing here in this state?" The first thing Ning Shi did was to order juice and desserts for Little Bun and take good care of her. When she heard Lu Jingli's words, the corners of her mouth curled up slightly and her glass-like eyes rippled with a hint of careless ridicule. She raised the corners of her eyes and said in a matter-of-fact tone, "Of course I'm here to hook up with girls." Lu Jingli was speechless. "Please, are you trying to make a scene here? Can't you give us single people a way out? Girls were scarce to begin with. You're a girl, yet you're here to steal girls from us. What are you doing?" Not only did Lu Jingli not succeed in tricking others, but he was tricked instead. He simply wanted to die. Ning Shi said in a low voice while Little Bun was focused on eating, "Haha, second young master. Let me remind you that you've snatched a lot of men from girls." Lu Jingli choked, then mumbled softly, "Of course, my good looks are alluring to both men and women, but originally, there were quite a few. But now, whether it's the girls or the guys, they've all been snatched away by you." Just now, the people who came to ask about Ning Shi, in addition to the beautiful girls, there was even a little submissive who liked men who shyly ran to him to ask about Ning Shi's surname and where she came from. The only thing missing was to directly marry him. Looking at the hint, even if they couldn't marry, a one-night stand would be fine. Except for Zhuang Ku'er, no other girls dared to flirt with Lu Tingxiao. However, Ning Shi was different. Not long after Ning Shi sat down and chatted with Lu Jingli, a girl came over to strike up a conversation. Moreover, it was a heavyweight beauty, a pair of twins who attracted the most attention of the single people present. The two beautiful girls, who looked exactly the same, were wearing the same style of tight skirts, one white and the other black. Chapter 536. The girl in the black dress was holding a glass of red wine in her hand. She glanced at Ning Shi and then approached Lu Jingli coquettishly. "Brother Jingli, you have a new friend. Why don't you introduce us?" Lu Jingli's mouth twitched when he saw the twins looking at Ning Shi. How was he going to introduce her? How was he going to introduce her? Was he going to introduce her as his sister-in-law? He was so tired. Lu Jingli rubbed his forehead to hide his pained expression. "You two, ask them yourselves." The two girls looked at each other and walked directly to Ning Shi. The girl in the white dress smiled sweetly. "Hi, I'm Qiao Yin." The girl in the black dress raised her glass. "I'm Qiao Ran. Let's get to know each other?" Lu Jingli gritted his teeth and lowered his voice to Ning Shi's ear. "Little Cece, you're so lucky. Big Qiao and Little Qiao have high standards. It's the first time they've taken the initiative to talk to a man." Ning Shi glanced at Lu Jingli and then looked at the two girls with a faint smile. "Hello." The younger sister, Qiao Ran, sat down on the sofa next to Ning Shi and leaned very close to him. "What's your surname, handsome?" Ning Shi helped Little Bun cut the cake into small pieces as she answered. My surname is Tang. Looking at Ning, she's careless but careful actions of taking care of the child. Xiao Ran's heart inexplicably skipped a beat. After a long while, she calmed down and resumed her sweet smile. Oh, it's Brother Tang, Brother Tang. You're so good at martial arts. Are you a martial artist? Xiao Yin asked with interest. Ningxi smiled and rubbed Little Bun's soft hair with one hand and supported her forehead with the other. Not really. It's just for show. As they chatted, little Xiao pressed her body against Ningxi's arm. Brother Tang, you're so modest. We've been very interested in these things since we were young. Unfortunately, our family doesn't let us learn them. Can you teach us? Ningxi glanced at the girl's body and said calmly, these things are not very suitable for you girls. Lu Jingli, hee, not very suitable for you girls? Aren't you a girl? You're too into it. After being rejected, Xiao Qiao immediately put on an aggrieved expression. Brother Tang, do you hate us to say that? I'm afraid I'll hurt you. However, I can teach you a few simple self-defense techniques. Okay. Brother Tang, you're the best. At this time, the other girls also took the opportunity to come over. Can you bring us along? We want to learn too. Lu Jingli was squeezed by a group of girls until he had no place to sit. He could only walk to the only place that no girls dared to touch, which was next to his brother. He said bitterly, brother, do I still need to tell sister-in-law to let her leave? Lu Jingli regretted it as soon as he asked. Leave my ass. Ningxi was like a fish in water here. They were worried for nothing. Right now, he should be worrying about his own brother. It was obvious that Lu Tingxiao's rage was accumulating. As the saying goes, if you don't explode in silence, you will perish in silence. Lu Jingli inexplicably had an ominous premonition. His eyelids kept twitching. He had a feeling that something earth-shattering might happen tonight. It couldn't go on like this. He had to think of a way. Chapter 537. Lu Jingli was so anxious that he scratched his ears and cheeks. Finally, his eyes lit up. He pulled Xiaobao over, held his little shoulder and said seriously, Xiaobao, why are you still eating? Hurry up and burn your little universe to fight. Your Aunt Xiaoxi is about to be taken away. Xiaobao was holding a glass of juice in his arms, and there was a little cream on the corner of his mouth. He blinked his eyes and didn't feel threatened at all. They were all girls. Why did they have to fight? Xiaobao buried his head and wrote 3 words on the writing board. Girls, girls, girls. They are girls. But not only men need to be vigilant. Girls are scarier. Okay? Lu Jingli didn't know how to explain to Xiaobao. It was over. Even Xiaobao couldn't be relied on. At this point, someone finally couldn't stand it anymore. That was the single men at the scene. Who in the circle didn't know that Lu Jingli's party had the most beauties and the best quality? So when they heard the news, all the single dogs in their free time flocked to the party. Lu Jingli alone was enough to steal the limelight. If Lu Tingxiao came, they would have no chance at all. Lu Tingxiao was finally about to leave, but who knew that not only did Lu Tingxiao not leave, but a heavy atomic bomb also came. This brat who came out of nowhere not only saved their goddess Xuanku but also stole all the women's attention. How could they not hate him? Out of envy, jealousy, and hatred, they naturally wanted to stir up trouble. A man with dyed flaxen hair came over and handed Ningxi a cigarette. He narrowed his eyes and looked unfriendly. Bro, I've never seen you before. Thank you. I'm quitting smoking. Ningxi didn't take the cigarette. Instead, she took out a lollipop from Xiaobao's pocket and put it in her mouth. Ningxi did quit smoking, but her behavior was obviously seen as disrespectful. The child's face darkened, and he tried to suppress his anger. There was a gleam of malice in his eyes. He put on a fake smile and said, Bro, come and play with us. Of course, Ningxi knew what these childs wanted to do. She was gentle to girls, but not to men. Now that someone came to her door to ask for abuse, she would not be soft-hearted and immediately said, Okay. After he finished speaking, he rubbed the little bun's head and said softly, Xiaobao, go to your father's place and stay for a while. I'll come find you soon. Xiaobao nodded and obediently went to find his father. Not far away, Lu Tingxiao looked at his son, who was running towards him. For some reason, he felt like he had been left at home to take care of his child while his wife was having fun outside. After a while, Ningxi started playing. There was a row of depth charges on the table. The loser had to drink. Those young masters were used to playing in the game, and they were all on the same side against a common enemy. They had made up their minds to humiliate Ningxi and drink him to death. In the beginning, Lu Tingxiao was worried that Ningxi would be at a disadvantage, but he soon realized that he was overthinking. Whether it was playing cards or dice, Ningxi had never lost a game. On the contrary, those young masters who came to provoke him were beaten black and blue. They leaned on the table and almost vomited. And Ningxi, who did not drink a single drop of wine, sat casually in the middle of the sofa and successfully won the hearts of all the girls present. Well, some of them might even be turned gay on the spot. Chapter 538. Hey, it's boring to play this game. You guys are too boring. You keep losing. Why don't we play truth or dare? Xiao Qiao suggested excitedly. After a short contact, she had become more and more interested in the man in front of her. Most importantly, she could tell that Zhuangke Air was also interested in this man. However, she was too proud of herself and she was chasing Lu Tingxiao, so she could only watch from the corner. Xiao Qiao's greatest hobby was to attack Zhuangke Air. She immediately made eye contact with her sister and was ready to play. In such an occasion, it was easy for sparks to fly between men and women when they played truth or dare. Moreover, Deqiao was best at truth or dare. Basically, whoever he wanted to draw would be the one to draw. Of course, the premise was that Ningxi did not make a move. So, Xiao Qiao held Ningxi's arm and said coquettishly, "Brother Tang, it's fine if you play with them, but don't bully us when you play with us." When Ningxi played with girls, she would not play any tricks. It was all based on luck, so she said carelessly, "Of course not." Xiao Qiao was satisfied and winked at Deqiao. The game began. Without any tricks, Ningxi's luck was not very good tonight. She was drawn several times in a row. Although she could see that the twins had secretly played tricks on the cards, she would not mind such a trivial matter. She was completely indulgent. The first time, "Brother Tang, truth or dare?" Xiao Qiao asked with a smile. Ningxi thought for a moment. Truth? In this case, the first question was just a test and would not go too far, so it was very safe. Sure enough, Xiao Qiao asked a very important question, but there was no pressure to answer it. "Brother Tang, do you have a girlfriend?" Obviously, many people wanted to know the answer to this question. Xiao Qiao herself was a little nervous. "No." Ningxi answered directly. "Really? Brother Tang, don't lie to me." Ningxi chuckled. "Oh, I won't. It's the truth." Although her attitude seemed casual, people could feel that she was telling the truth from her eyes. After hearing Ningxi's answer, everyone became more excited and played even more vigorously. Even though they knew that the game was controlled by the twins, they could not help but be excited. The second time, Ningxi was selected as expected. Xiao Qiao threw a coquettish look at him. "Brother Tang, what about this time? Truth or dare?" Ningxi, truth. The second question would definitely be more exciting than the first, but it should be within the acceptable range. Xiao Qiao deliberately thought for a long time and then asked in a drawn-out voice, "Brother Tang, how many girlfriends have you had?" Ningxi was not surprised by this question. She just slightly raised her eyebrows and answered truthfully, "This question? Sorry, I can't remember." She really couldn't remember how many scumbags she had tortured in the past. Now, the only one she still had contact with was probably Jiang Mai. When answering this question, Ningxi looked at the devil hiding in the corner and couldn't see his expression clearly. "Humph, Brother Tang is so hateful. I knew you had a lot of girlfriends," Xiao Qiao angrily said. However, such a man had had many girlfriends, which was completely within her expectations. She was just unwilling, so she still asked. When she was chosen for the third time, Ningxi finally didn't choose truth anymore. Dare. Chapter 539. When she was chosen for the third time, Ningxi finally didn't choose truth anymore. Dare. Because this time, if she continued to choose the truth, Xiao Qiao would never let her go easily. She did not know what kind of questions she would ask. If the great demon king wasn't here, she wouldn't care even if she went overboard. However, the great demon king was overseeing things, so how could she dare to go overboard? Although Lu Tingxiao sat in the corner and didn't seem to have any presence, Ningxi's aura was like a shadow following her. Furthermore, that presence was getting stronger and stronger. Oh, a certain someone was even jealous of Gong Shangzi. Could it be that he was jealous of a girl this time? After hearing Ningxi say dare, although Xiao Qiao was very disappointed that the explosive question that she had prepared could not be used, but it doesn't matter, she still has the second plan. So, Xiao Qiao coughed lightly and immediately said the risky method that she had prepared. Brother Qiao, my request is very simple. Tonight, you can choose any one of the girls here to be your girlfriend for half a day. After saying the last few words, Xiao Qiao shyly lowered her head. As long as it was a man, he would definitely be able to understand her hints. As long as he chose her, even if it was just a game, she could go with the flow and make it a reality, turning half a day into an infinite delay. Actually, at first, she only wanted a kiss. But later on, she changed her mind. Just a kiss was not enough. She wanted more. She wanted to own the man in front of her. After hearing little Qiao's request, how could the people at the scene not understand her meaning? Although the other girls were jealous, they knew that they couldn't compare to this pair of sisters. They could only secretly hate. The men were all abused by Ningxi and had no fighting strength. They could only watch as this stinky brat took the beauty home. Roar. My goddess Xiao Qiao. How infuriating. It's okay. Xiao Qiao is gone, but there's still Big Qiao. Bullshit. Little Qiao is gone. How could Big Qiao be far away? The hearts of these two sisters are interlinked. The men they like are the same. If this kid can settle Xiao Qiao, it's the same as settling Big Qiao. This is simply enjoying the bliss of having two wives. Damn it, where did this brat come from? He snatched all the beauties away. Second young master, what are you doing? What happened to the bachelor party? What happened to the beauties who promised to take us away from singlehood? Is this how you get us out of singlehood? Lu Jingli, who had been scolded for no reason, was speechless. He complained silently. All of you together can't even compare to one person. Can you blame me for that? He couldn't bear to tell them that they had lost to a girl. A girl. At this moment, Xiao Qiao was not in a hurry at all. She was waiting for the man's answer. She even took the time to look at Zhuangku proudly. In the corner, Xiao Qiao's provocation made Zhuangku bite her lip. She did not want to continue watching, but she did not want to leave. She could only tell herself that her goal was Lu Tingxiao. Lu Tingxiao's precious son happened to be here tonight. She should take advantage of everyone's attention on Ningxi to build a good relationship with Lu Tingxiao and his son. Chapter 540. However, Zhuangku's eyes and heart were completely out of her control. Her whole body and mind were focused on Ningxi and Xiao Qiao. At this moment, her heart was in her throat. That man, would he really choose Xiao Qiao? How could he? She had clearly met this man first. Under extreme anger, Zhuangku even began to waver. She did not want to continue to sit and wait for death. For a moment, everyone's eyes fell on Ningxi. Ningxi did not expect Xiao Qiao to make such a request. It was really a bit difficult for her. She had already sensed that the devil might be jealous. Even if the devil was not here, she still had a sense of propriety. If it was just for fun, or even if Xiao Qiao let her kiss her, it would not be a problem. However, a girlfriend was something that could not be easily agreed to if it was not sincere. She could abuse a scumbag, but she absolutely did not want to hurt a girl's heart. If it was impossible, she should not give people hope. At first, she could tell that Xiao Qiao was just playing around. But later on, Ningxi keenly saw a trace of seriousness in the girl's eyes. So, Ningxi decisively stopped. Sorry, I'll drink 3 glasses of wine as punishment. Finally, Ningxi opened her mouth. As soon as her voice fell, everyone was stunned. Because everyone thought that Ningxi and Xiao Qiao would be together tonight. They did not expect that Ningxi would actually accept the punishment at the last moment. Especially Xiao Qiao, her face was full of disbelief. Brother Tang, why? Ningxi looked relaxed and smiled. She said in a joking tone, there are too many beautiful women tonight. The flowers will gradually dazzle the eyes, so forget it. Although Xiao Qiao knew that Ningxi was giving her a way out of this embarrassing situation, she became stubborn. Regardless of her sister's reminder and obstruction, she didn't care about losing face. She unrelentingly said, Brother Tang, don't fool me. I want to know the reason. Why? Under everyone's gaze, the girl's eyes were already filled with tears. Ningxi had a headache. Oh no, I've gone too far. Basically, people who were familiar with Ningxi knew that what she was most afraid of was girls crying. Looking at Xiao Qiao's teary eyes, Ningxi pinched her eyebrows, her heart struggling. Xiao Qiao, don't cry, She was thinking about how to end the situation with the least amount of damage. Otherwise, she should first agree to Xiao Qiao and not let the girl be embarrassed in public. After all, she was also at fault for what happened tonight. Not far away, Lu Jingli wiped his face and prepared for a high-energy warning. He had basically figured out Ningxi's temperament. He had every reason to believe that under the attack of Xiao Qiao's tears, Ningxi would really agree to the girl's request. Because everyone's attention, including Lu Jingli's, was focused on Ningxi and Xiao Qiao, no one noticed that in the corner, the seal of a big devil that had been sleeping for a long time was lifted. No one noticed that Lu Tingxiao had already stood up and was walking towards Ningxi step by step, until, just when Ningxi's heart softened and she was about to let go, one of her wrists was suddenly pulled up and her waist was brought into an embrace of ice and snow. In the next second, a passionate kiss that was the complete opposite of the man's cold expression landed accurately on her lips. Chapter 541. In an instant, there was the sound of cups, plates, knives, and forks colliding with each other, as well as the sound of men and women gasping one after another. Lu Jingli spat out a mouthful of wine and coughed violently. The medicinal oil in Zhuangku, Er's hand fell to the ground and shattered into pieces. Did Xiao's beautiful face turn pale? Xiao Qiao. Xiao Qiao looked like she was completely scared out of her wits. Of course, there was another person at the scene who was even more shocked than Xiao Qiao, and that was Ningxi herself. Fuck, fuck, fuck. What is the devil doing? Ningxi's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets when Lu Tingxiao finally slowly left her lips. However, the hand that was around her waist did not loosen at all. He only raised his pair of incomparably frightening eyes and looked at Xiao Qiao, who was already scared out of her wits. His voice was low and gloomy as he said, Any other questions? Xiao Qiao, who had been asking Ningxi why she did not choose her, was stunned for a second and then immediately shook her head violently. Brother Tang did not lie to her. He really did not have a girlfriend, but he had a boyfriend, and her boyfriend was Master Xiao. Oh my God. Lu Jingli rubbed his forehead. His face was tragic. He felt that this poor girl's head was about to fall off her neck. Sigh, silly child. She could have hooked up with anyone, but she had to snatch food from the tiger's mouth. Ningxi tried to break free, but she could not. She was so anxious that she almost scratched him. Lu Tingxiao, are you crazy? Do you know what you're doing? Lu Tingxiao did not look remorseful at all. Instead, he looked as if it was a matter of course and his tone was calm. Solving the problem. Ningxi wanted to die. Even if he wanted to help her out, she was a man now. Did he even realize this? Kissing in public was already sensational enough, and now it was two men. It did not matter if she had changed her appearance. No one knew her anyway, but he was different. Did he think that the previous rumors were not exaggerated enough? It was just a rumor before, but now, he had confirmed it himself. This guy was too willful and reckless. Ningxi was annoyed. Let go. Lu Tingxiao didn't let go. Not only that, but when he saw the girl's beautiful eyes filled with concern and worry, he couldn't help but lean forward and kiss her again. Feeling the unexpected hot temperature on her lips again, Ningxi was dumbfounded. Fuck. What was going on? The great demon king was infected by a virus? Plop. Some unlucky guy lost his footing and fell into the swimming pool due to the shock. Looking at this scene, everyone who was frightened for the second time held their chests and coughed. Mama! It was too terrifying. Now that they knew such a shocking secret, would they all be silenced here in the end? However, although both of them were men, but for some reason, why did he feel that the two of them were so compatible? One of them was wild and hard to tame, while the other was domineering and strong. The scene of them hugging and kissing each other simply made people blush, their heartbeat and blood flow accelerate. Wake up! Wake up! Oh my God! How could they have such a strange idea? Chapter 542. Ningxi's chin was pinched by rough fingers, and she felt a slight pain and numbness on her lips. She was so scared that she peed her pants. If she had known this would happen, she wouldn't have acted recklessly. The devil who had been repressed was too scary. He didn't care at all. However, she really didn't expect that the devil would be jealous of a girl, and in such an earth-shattering way. This time, Lu Tingxiao kissed her carefully for a long time. However, he still knew his limits and let go of Ningxi before she exploded. Ningxi's heart was beating violently. She gritted her teeth and slowly raised a hand. Wanting to take off her wig, things had already turned out like this. She couldn't let Lu Tingxiao be mistaken as gay, could she? However, at this time, Lu Tingxiao seemed to know what she wanted to do. He clasped her fingers tightly and stopped her. Her eyes, which were flickering with flames, stared intently at the person in front of her as if she was the only one in the whole world. She lowered her voice and said calmly, "No need. Isn't that good? There won't be any other woman by my side in the future." Ningxi was stunned when she heard this. Her heart throbbed uncontrollably. Damn it. The devil had gone too far. What a big move. Damn it. She couldn't help but want to pounce on him and kiss him on the spot. I'm going to the bathroom. In the end, Ningxi broke free from Lu Tingxiao's hand and escaped like a rocket. Lu Tingxiao looked at the girl's back as she fled in a panic. The dazzling light in his eyes flickered, and then he glanced at everyone present. His gentle and doting gaze turned into a world of ice and snow. Xiao Qiao hugged De Qiao and trembled in fear. Sister. What did I do? What did I do? Brother Xiao will kill me. I was snatching Brother Zhao's man just now. De Qiao was obviously frightened as well. He forced himself to calm down and comforted her. Calm down. It'll be fine. Those who don't know are innocent. After all, they didn't say anything. We didn't know at all. No wonder he's so close to Brother Xiao and Brother Jingli. Even Xiaobao is so close to him. How could I be so stupid not to think of this earlier? The twins shrank in the corner as much as possible to reduce their presence. The Fujoshis hidden in the crowd silently had nosebleeds. The others also began to discuss. The news of President Liu liking men has been circulating for so many years, but it has never been brought to the surface. Actually, This result is not surprising, is it? It's, it's just that the shock of seeing it with my own eyes is still. It's really hard to explain. The others nodded in agreement. It was indeed too shocking. Someone shrugged with an indifferent attitude. What kind of society is this? This kind of thing is too normal now, okay? In any case, I don't discriminate against them. Moreover, these two people look quite compatible. That Tang fellow is even prettier than the woman, so it doesn't seem out of place for them to stand together. Hearing this, there were quite a lot of people who agreed. That Brad is so arrogant. Which woman can control him? Only someone like Master Xiao can control him, right? Hee hee, I don't think so. Didn't you see that Brother Xiao is here? Does that kid dare to go around flirting? Not only was she the #1 socialite in Beijing, but she was also a pair of beautiful twin sisters. In the end, Brother Xiao was forced to make it public. Brother Xiao is completely under their control. TSK. No wonder Brother Xiao doesn't like beauties and prefers him. Chapter 543. Standing at the door of the washroom, Ningxi almost went straight into the ladies' room because she was feeling uneasy. Then she came to her senses and rushed in the opposite direction. After washing her face, she calmed down a little. However, as soon as she came out, she saw Zhuang Kuer in the corridor outside. When she was playing with De Qiao and Xiao Qiao, the sisters had already gossiped a lot about Zhuang Kuer. Of course, they also talked about Zhuang Kuer and Lu Tingxiao. Therefore, she really didn't know how to face Zhuang Kuer at this moment. So she decided to stay calm. Sure enough, seeing that she didn't speak, Zhuang Kuer couldn't help but speak first. I know I'm not in a position to ask, but is it true you and Lu Tingxiao really in that kind of relationship? Ningxi raised her eyebrows. It seemed that Zhuang Kuer was here to blame her for stealing her sweetheart. Although the Zhuang family in the capital couldn't compare with the Lu family in the business world, the Zhuang family's background was something that even the Lu family couldn't belittle and needed. The reason why Lu Chongshan favored Zhuang Kuer as his daughter-in-law was that he wanted to use the Zhuang family to protect the Lu family and make the Lu family more powerful. Speaking of the Zhuang family, they had a very subtle relationship. The old master of the Zhuang family, Zhuang Zongren, had a son and 3 daughters. Ningxi's biological mother, Zhuang Lingyu, was Zhuang Zongren's youngest daughter. Because she insisted on marrying Ning Yaohua, she broke off the father-daughter relationship with Zhuang Zongren. They hadn't contacted each other for more than 20 years. Therefore, except for some of the older generation who knew the inside story, most people thought that Zhuang Zongren only had 2 daughters. Even the younger generation of the Zhuang family didn't know. Ningxi knew it because she accidentally overheard the conversation between Zhuang Lingyu and Ning Yaohua. Ning Yaohua seemed to have encountered some difficulties at that time and hoped that Zhuang Lingyu could go back and beg his father-in-law. Later, Zhuang Lingyu refused and said something like she would never go back. Zhuang Kuer was Zhuang Zongren's granddaughter, and Ningxi was Zhuang Zongren's granddaughter. So, in terms of blood relationship, they were cousins. This was really messy enough, however. Ningxi just thought about it casually. She didn't care about it at all. She didn't even recognize Zhuang Lingyu. Why would she care about her grandfather and cousin? So what if it's real? So what if it's fake? Ningxi didn't answer but asked back. It's fake. Zhuang Kuer's voice trembled. How she wished that it was fake. But it was impossible. They were already there. She was just lying to herself. In the end, Zhuang Kuer took a deep breath, restored her calm expression and said, "If it's true, then I give up." Huh. Ningxi didn't expect Zhuang Kuer to give such an answer. It didn't match her competitive personality at all, so she was stunned. Zhuang Kuer clenched her fists and stared at her with a burning gaze. She said word by word, "Originally, I was determined to get Lu Tingxiao. It's because of you that I gave up. I won't fight with you. After saying that, Zhuang Kuo quickly left in her high heels, as if she was afraid that she would lose control of her emotions. Ningxi watched Zhuang Kuo's proud and humble back view as she left. She was dumbfounded once again. Something didn't seem right. Had she misunderstood? Why did she have the illusion that Zhuang Kuo's true love was her, and not Lu Tingxiao? Chapter 544. Outside, the party was still going on, but obviously, everyone was no longer thinking about eating, drinking, and having fun. Lu Jingli glanced at the women, who were leaving one after another. They were all socialites who had come to get close to Lu Tingxiao, but now they all gave up. Brother, your move is really amazing. Not only did you get rid of all your rivals in love, but you also got rid of the women who coveted you. You won't have to worry about anything in the future. Lu Jingli looked at his brother with admiration. At this moment, Lu Jingli didn't realize that his brother had nothing to worry about, but he was going to be in big trouble soon. After Ningxi came out of the bathroom, she saw many people staring at her, and the first one who rushed over was Xiao Baozi. Xiao Baozi's face was obviously written, "My baby is angry. I want a hug. I want a super big hug. Only then can I heal my wounded heart." Annie Xiaoxi actually kissed Papa, twice. Ningxi knew what the little fellow was thinking. She gave her 2 kisses and then walked toward Lu Tingxiao with the little fellow in her arms. As soon as Ningxi sat down, a waiter came over with a tray with 2 glasses of milk on it. Lu Tingxiao gave one to his son and the other to Ningxi. Then he leaned against the sofa casually, but his arm was on the back of the sofa behind Ningxi, looking very possessive. His whole aura was sending out such a message: private property, no hooking up, not even looking. Sure enough, this move was very effective. Everyone immediately looked down, drank, chatted, and didn't dare to look anymore. The Great Demon King's move of kissing her in public could be said to have taken drastic measures to solve all the problems. Now, Ningxi was really much more peaceful, but it was inevitable that she was worried. "Hey, Lu Tingxiao, are you sure it's okay to let them misunderstand?" Lu Tingxiao nodded. "Well, don't worry. When you become my wife, the rumors will naturally disappear." Ningxi coughed. What the hell? If that day didn't come, wouldn't he be misunderstood as liking men for the rest of his life? Lu Jingli laughed. "Ha ha ha ha. Slow down, okay? I'm going to die from your stuffing." After a while, Xiao Baozi was a little sleepy. He usually went to bed at 9 or 10 at night and felt sleepier after drinking the milk. Lu Tingxiao looked at his son's sleepy face and reached out to hug him, wanting him to sleep more comfortably. However, the little girl didn't buy it at all. She climbed down with great disgust and then clung to Ningxi's side. She put her little hands around Ningxi's neck and stared at her father warily, as if saying, "Don't you dare to separate me from Aunt Xiaoxi. I've seen through your scheme." Since Lu Tingxiao kissed Ningxi, the little fellow had been extremely vigilant, and even the father and son alliance began to waver. Lu Jingli, who was watching from the side, was gloating and almost burst out laughing. It was true that even a wise man would make a mistake. Even if his brother managed to settle everyone, he had forgotten about his own son. Ningxi felt sorry for Xiaobao, so she picked him up and said goodbye to Lu Jingli. "Second young master, enjoy yourselves. Xiaobao is sleepy, so I'll take him back to sleep. Xiao Baozi is growing, so he can't stay up late." Lu Jingli looked at Ningxi, who looked like a good wife and a loving mother, and was speechless. He really couldn't associate her with the person who had just gone out of control. Chapter 545. His son was sleepy, and his wife wanted to bring him home. Naturally, Lu Tingxiao could not stay any longer. Ningxi carried Xiao Bao in her arms while Lu Tingxiao took off his maroon suit jacket and draped it over Ningxi's shoulders. Then, he put his arm around her shoulder and walked out together. Teske. This family of three is going home. Even though they had been warned by Lu Tingxiao, everyone could not help but look over. The more they looked, the more surprised they became. That Tang kid is such a playboy. He's so gentle when he's carrying Lu Tingxiao's son. The arrogance and sharpness between his brows are now like warm spring water. It's not aggressive at all. Instead, it softens everyone's heart. Oh no. Stop looking. It'll be terrible if he's turned gay. This is a scary person who can even turn Lu Tingxiao gay. The men who were secretly watching tried their best to calm down. They were full of vigilance while the girls' hearts had completely fallen. Even though they knew that he liked men, they still liked him very, very much. What should they do? The way he carries the child is even more charming. So gentle. Xiao Qiao was lying in her sister's arms. She was so sad that she almost fainted. Sob, sob, sob. I'm so sad. The two men I like the most in my life. They're actually together. I actually fell out of love twice in one night. De Qiao said, that doesn't seem to be a problem. He really did fall out of love twice. Xiao Qiao clutched her chest and lamented. Handsome men are so scarce and they're actually digesting it internally. Two of them are gone just like that. My heart hurts so much. De Qiao could only comfort her. It's okay. There's still brother Jingli. Xiao Qiao sniffled and said angrily, no, Lu Jingli's too much of a playboy. He's not my type. I don't want him no matter how handsome he is. At that moment, Lu Jingli happened to pass by Xiao Qiao and almost fell when he heard that. Fuck. I'm a playboy? Fine, I'm a playboy. But is it as playboy as your brother Tang? Your brother Tang doesn't even let go of women after spending his money on men. You stupid girls. Lu Jingli sent the three of them to the door. They were already beaten black and blue, but he did not forget to help them. It's already so late. It's so troublesome to run around. Why don't you stay at my brother's place for the night? Sigh. He was simply too selfless. If there was an award for the best younger brother in the world, he would definitely win it. Ningxi thought about it. She also felt that it would be a bit troublesome if she had to bring Little Bun all the way back to the apartment with his father right next door. That's fine. I don't have any problems. Ningxi said. After saying that, they walked towards the direction of the villa with Lu Tingxiao. When they were about to reach the main entrance, the sleepy Little Bun in his arms looked at the familiar building in front of him. His expression changed, and he suddenly flipped out. The little fellow grabbed Ningxi's clothes and shook his head, unwilling to go in. No, no, no. Don't leave Aunt Xiaoxi. Clearly, Little Bun thought that Ningxi was going to send him home. Ningxi had to comfort him softly. Baby, I won't abandon you. Aunt Xiaoxi will also live with you. Let's go together tomorrow morning and go back to Aunt Xiaoxi's place, okay? Little Bun was still in a daze from sleep. It was unknown if she had heard him or not. In any case, she kept shaking her head. She was so anxious that she was about to cry. She just didn't want to go in. It was as if she was about to enter some great demon's lair. Ningxi looked at Lu Tingxiao helplessly. What should we do? Lu Tingxiao sighed. It's okay. I'll send you back. Son, you can't betray me. At most, I won't kiss you in front of you anymore, okay? Chapter 546. The next morning, Lu Jingli was in the middle of a great dream of hugging a beautiful woman. Suddenly, with a bang sound, his door was pushed open. Fuck. Who was it? What the fuck? He slept naked. Were they going to rape him? Lu Jingli's first reaction was to cover himself with the blanket. Then, he saw a scene that was worse than a nightmare. His biological parents were standing in front of his bed. Their expressions were exactly the same as when he had poked a hornet's nest when he was playful and wanted to beat him up. Lu Jingli was shocked and immediately sobered up. Dad, Mom, it's so early in the morning. What are you two doing here? Brat, I'll beat you to death. Yen Rui hit him without hesitation. Lu Chongshan also whipped him with his walking stick. Lu Jingli hugged the blanket and rolled in a circle, dodging his parents' combined blows. Fuck, Dad, Mom, don't be like this. Why did you hit me without saying anything? Ow, ow, ow. Don't hit my face. Am I your biological son or not? Don't pull my blanket. I'm not wearing any clothes. At least wait for me to put on some clothes first. I'll give you 2 minutes. Hurry up and come out. Yen Rui closed the door and angrily followed Lu Chongshan out to the living room to wait. Lu Jingli quickly put on his clothes and rolled his eyes. He immediately ran to the windowsill and opened the window. Only an idiot would go out obediently. The two of them had actually come to find trouble with him so early in the morning. This time, it boded ill rather than well. In the end, the older, the wiser. Lu Chongshan already knew that he would do this. Brat, I knew you were going to run. Come here. In the end, Lu Jingli still fell into their clutches. Lu Jingli sat on the sofa and scratched his head. He said with a bitter expression, Dad, Mom, what's going on? You actually dare to ask. What happened last night? Tell me yourself. Don't tell me you don't know. Lu Chongshan looked like a storm was brewing. Lu Jingli looked innocent. Last night? What happened last night? Didn't I just have a party last night? You're still playing dumb. Someone told me, that your brother kissed a man in front of everyone last night. This is really preposterous. Outrageous. Lu Chongshan slammed the table angrily. What the? That's it. I thought it was something important. What kind of attitude is that? This matter is not big enough. Lu Jingli felt even more innocent after being yelled at. Come on, Mom, Dad. It was my brother who kissed a man in public, not me. My brother lives next door. Why did you hit me instead of torturing him? I'm being wronged. Lu Chongshan's face darkened instantly. You dare to say that you didn't come up with this rotten idea for your brother? If I don't hit you, who else will I hit? You're the one I'm hitting. Lu Jingli was unhappy. Fuck. Why? Why am I the one who came up with the idea? This time, my brother was obviously self-taught. I was so scared that I peed my pants. Okay? I'm a victim too. Seeing that Lu Jingli's expression did not seem to be fake, Lu Chongshan and Yen Rui hesitated. Lu Jingli took the opportunity to continue. Also, why are you so sure that it's fake? Maybe my brother really likes men? When Lu Chongshan heard that, he immediately flew into a rage. Bullshit. If you dare to spout nonsense again, I'll beat you to death. Your brother already has a child. How could he like men? Besides, he was so infatuated with that woman not long ago. This is clearly his scheme. Chapter 547. Hearing this, Lu Jingli calmed down. He raised his eyebrows and said, You can't say for sure. Anyway, I didn't come up with this idea, so I don't know anything. You guys know that my brother's sexual orientation wasn't certain in the past. 5 years ago, I dug a hole for him, and he almost cut off all ties with us. This time, he finally met Ningxi and she's a woman, but you guys tried to stop him and forced him to marry someone he doesn't like. The road of love is so bumpy. It's entirely possible for my brother to fall in love with another man because of some psychological trauma in the end, okay? Lu Jingli's words really frightened Lu Chongshan and Yen Rui. This was what they were most worried about. So even though they guessed that this was their son's scheme, they still came over anxiously to ask about it. Lu Chongshan's expression was extremely ugly. In the end, he looked at Lu Jingli and said, "Help me tell your brother that he can marry that woman if he wants." Lu Jingli's eyes lit up when he heard this, but he quickly calmed down. His father must have something else to say. Sure enough, Lu Chongshan continued, "As long as he agrees to a few conditions." What conditions? Firstly, and most importantly, let that woman retire from the entertainment industry. Secondly, hide her identity and we'll help her change to a suitable identity. Thirdly, before marrying into our family, hand her over to me and your mother to teach her some etiquette. Hearing this, Lu Jingli picked his ears and interrupted him. "Dad, don't go through so much trouble. Let me ask my brother. I'll answer you on behalf of my brother." "What are you trying to say?" Lu Chongshan asked in a low voice. "I want to say, Dad, you're too insincere. Why don't you just break up the lovebirds?" Lu Chongshan's expression changed instantly. "What do you mean?" He had thought about it for an entire night before coming up with this idea. He would never accept that woman, but she had compromised for him in the end. He had even put in so much effort to give her the right to marry into the Lu family. Wasn't that enough sincerity? Lu Jingli sighed and said, "Dad, let me put it this way. My brother likes a wolf, but you have to bring this wolf from the prairie to the zoo, put it in a cage, paint it with a layer of white paint, pull out its claws and teeth, and put on an iron collar. Then, give it to my brother and tell him, 'Here, this is your favorite wolf cub. Take it.' What do you think my brother will think? You're not doing this for my brother's good. You're destroying the person he loves with your own hands." Yan Rui frowned. "Jingli, your analogy isn't appropriate. We just want to make that girl more suitable to be Ting Xiao's wife and Xiaobao's mother." "Okay, then let me use another analogy. Do you remember when I was young? I really liked a rabbit. After that, it fell sick and died. I was so upset that I didn't eat for a few days and nights. So, you brought an identical rabbit from outside to make me happy. Do you still remember my reaction at that time?" Yan Rui frowned and nodded. "You didn't want it, so I gave it away. Yes, even if it's exactly the same. I know that it's no longer the one I love the most. Moreover, you've turned a wolf into a dog. Even its species has changed. There are so many people suitable for my brother. What's the point of him and Xiaobao not liking it?" Chapter 548. After arriving at the company in the afternoon, Lu Jingli reported to his brother that he had been besieged by his parents in the morning. Of course, he emphasized on how he had changed the situation. "Although I talked with them for a long time, it's a very good sign. Mom and Dad didn't agree at all before, but this time at least they relented. Bro, I think this plan of yours can actually be followed up. If you do it a few more times, they might really agree to everything," Lu Jingli said with an expression of, "I'm really too smart." Lu Tingxiao glanced at his gleeful younger brother. He really couldn't bear to remind him that if his parents lost all hope in him, he wouldn't be the only son in the Lu family. When that time came, the one forced to get married would definitely be Lu Jingli, the second son. While the brothers were talking, there was a knock on the office door. It was Xiaobao, followed by Gong Shangza instead of Ning Shi. Lu Tingxiao frowned slightly. "Where is Ning Shi?" Gong Shangza didn't know what was going on. Every time he faced this man, he always felt nervous and answered nervously, "President Lu." Sister, she suddenly remembered that she had something urgent to do, so she didn't come up. She said that she would pick up Xiaobao in about 2 hours and asked me to inform you. Urgent? Lu Tingxiao casually glanced at the time on the calendar and immediately understood that today was Ning Shi's grandfather's birthday. She must have gone to the Ning family. Thinking of this, Lu Tingxiao's face slightly froze. He was a little worried about her going to the Ning family alone. However, since it was such a short time of 2 hours, she probably didn't intend to attend the birthday party. At most, she would say hello to the old master and come back. There shouldn't be any problem at this time. Lu Jingli suddenly became energetic and looked Gong Shangza up and down. Hey, 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 I haven't seen you for a few days. What happened? Who are you? Why do you seem to be familiar with Cici? Gong Shangza guessed that the person in front of him should be the boss of Shangshi Entertainment and Ning Shi's immediate boss, Lu Jingli. He answered his question very politely and carefully. Hello, I am. After Lu Jingli heard this, he went straight to his brother's side and said in a low voice, Damn, brother, you're too careless. You put such a little fresh meat beside sister-in-law, and you didn't even guard against her. Aren't you afraid that she'll eat him when she's hungry one day? Lu Tingxiao glanced at the flustered Lu Jingli and replied, I have Xiaobao. Lu Jingli. Haha. His brother was really amazing. No wonder he could have brought Xiaobao back to the villa and let Ningxi go to the villa whenever she wanted to see him. This way, they could have had a lot of opportunities to get along with each other. In the end, he actually sent his son to live with Ningxi. This was clearly a top spy and a high-level love rival by Ning Shi's side. Xiaobao and Ning Shi must be very grateful to him for using his own son so thoroughly. Ning family courtyard. Today was the 70th birthday of Ning Ziyuan, the head of the Ning family. There was an endless stream of guests in front of the head's mansion. Because it was the 70th birthday and Ning's International had been developing very well under the leadership of his eldest son, Ning Yaohua, in the past 2 years, and they were about to become in-laws with the most powerful Su family in the capital by marriage. There were many guests this time. The servants and attendants were all so busy that their feet didn't even touch the ground. However, each and every one of them was beaming with joy. Their master's family had power and influence, so they also had a long face. No matter where they went, as long as they said they worked for the Ning family, who wouldn't be envious? Chapter 549. In the banquet hall, the guests and relatives were warmly congratulating the old man on his birthday and saying auspicious words. The most eye-catching tonight was undoubtedly Ning Yaohua's family, who was currently in power. The guests outside came one after another, each more powerful than the other. In addition to Ning Yaohua's business partners, there were also Ning Shueluo's close friends and powerful friends in the circle. A bunch of relatives of the Ning family were extremely jealous. For the sake of future benefits, they all went up to curry favor with them. Lingyu, you are so lucky. Your husband is so capable and your daughter is so capable. I envy you the most for having a good daughter. Not only is she getting more and more beautiful, but she is also getting more and more capable. Not only is she good at acting, but she can also open her own company. Exactly. The brand of her clothes is so popular that many ladies in the circle have been asking me if I can reserve one for them. Ning Shuelua was a little embarrassed by the compliments. Uncle and auntie, you are too polite. It's just a small quarrel. Not only is she talented, but she also has a good temper. Look at how modest she is, unlike my daughter who only knows how to make trouble for me all day. Mrs. Ning, how on earth did you raise such an excellent daughter? Please teach us. A group of people asked Zhuang Lingyu about raising a child. Zhuang Lingyu looked at her daughter, who she was proud of, and chuckled. I really have no experience in this aspect. Shuelua has never needed me to worry about her since she was a child. Oh, I am so jealous. Amidst the praises, someone muttered softly, speaking of which, I really don't know what your family's old man is thinking. He already has such a good granddaughter like Shueluo. But at that time, he still insisted on adopting a little lass from the countryside and placed her under your name. Later on, so many preposterous things happened. Isn't this just looking for trouble for himself? At the mention of Ning Shi, Zhuang Lingyu's expression suddenly changed. She looked a little uncomfortable and said, Grandpa pitied her, so he did a good deed. As the younger generation, we naturally followed his wishes. Her words clearly made it clear that she had nothing to do with Ning Shi. No one in the circle knew that Ning Shi and Ning Shuelua had exchanged identities. Everyone thought that Ning Shi was just an adopted daughter of the Ning family from the countryside. When Grandpa Ning took Ning Shi back, he must have been ready to announce her identity. After all, she was his own flesh and blood. Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu agreed at that time. But later on, under Ning Shualua's instigation, Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu became more and more dissatisfied with Ning Shi. After Ning Shi drank the lemon water to wash her hands in public. Until the day when they were going to announce Ning Shi's identity, Ning Shi actually wore a fake dress. When she was discovered, they were humiliated. So, at that time, the two decisively changed their minds and didn't announce Ning Shi's identity. After that, they kept delaying this matter until 5 years ago, when Ning Shi did something that ruined the family's reputation. They completely gave up the idea of revealing her identity and secretly sent her abroad to fend for herself. You guys are really kind. You even spent so much effort to send her abroad to study. However, it's been 5 years. She should have graduated and come back, right? What was he doing now? Does he work at Ning's international group? A distant relative asked, tentatively. Chapter 550. Ning Yaohua had 2 daughters. One was a real one, and the other was a fake one. Ning Shuelua was of high status and had been betrothed to the Su family long ago. They definitely couldn't get close to her and didn't dare to have any ideas. Although Ning Shi was of low birth, she was an adopted daughter after all. If they could get married to her, they could at least get some benefits. After being reminded by the relative, many people began to ask about Ning Shi's current situation. I don't think so. I heard she was playing a small role in the crew. What? Playing a small role? Why didn't she go to work? Why did she do that? Maybe she saw Shui become a big star and wanted to try it herself? She's overestimating herself. Does she think that anyone can become a star? Lingyu, aren't you going to do something about it? Hearing these discussions, Zhuang Lingyu's originally radiant face immediately darkened. Ning Shuelua saw this and held Zhuang Lingyu's hand. She said considerately, Mom and Dad wanted sister to work in the company for a long time and arranged a position for her. But sister didn't want to. Uncle and Auntie, you know that she's not her biological daughter after all. Mom and Dad can't be too harsh on her and can only respect her own wishes. When the people heard this, they immediately nodded to show their understanding. Sai, how can you blame Lingyu? Lingyu gave her good food and clothes and sent her abroad to give her the best education. It's enough, okay? Dragons give birth to dragons and phoenixes give birth to phoenixes. She came from the countryside and is so short-sighted. She can't be taught. How can she be compared to Shui Luo? That's right. Lingyu and Yaohua have done their best. Hearing these words, Zhuang Lingyu secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Anyway, no one knew that the unbearable and embarrassing existence was her biological daughter. Her daughter, her pride, was only Shui Luo. With the excuse of being an adoptive mother, no matter how embarrassing Ning Shi was in the future, it had nothing to do with her. Outside the Ning family's gate, after Ning Shi arrived, she took a look from afar. If she wanted to enter from the gate, she needed an invitation card. She didn't inform anyone, let alone an invitation card. So, she thought for a while and finally made a call to her cousin Ning Tianxin. Sister Xian, the voice on the other end of the phone was a little excited. Cici, where are you? I was just about to call you. Today is Grandpa's birthday. Are you coming back? Well, I'm already at the door. Can you come out and help me bring the gift to Grandpa? Ning Shi asked. You've arrived? Even if you don't want to see anyone else, since you're already here, you should at least see your grandfather, right? Grandpa was talking to me about you last night. He asked me when you would come back. I even comforted him that you would definitely come back today, but Ning Tianxin didn't have the heart to continue. Hearing Ning Tianxin's words, Ning Shi was in a dilemma. In the end, Ning Tianxin sighed and said, How about this? You come to the back door, and I'll find a chance to take Grandpa there. You can wish him a happy birthday and give him the present in person. That's for the best. Thank you, Sister Xian. Ningxi was extremely grateful. Ningxi breathed a sigh of relief and walked towards the back door with the jade Buddha bracelet she bought for her grandfather last time. When she saw the white-haired old man being supported by Ning Tianxin, her eyes turned red. Chapter 551. 5 years might not be a long time for a young girl like her, but for an old man like Grandpa, it was a long time. Grandpa's hair had turned completely white, and his straight back had become hunched. He was trembling as he took out his glasses from his pocket, trying to see her clearly. The moment she saw Grandpa, Ningxi's long-sealed memories suddenly surged up. In the winter of that year, she was still a naive girl. She came to a strange place alone and saw her biological parents and Ning Shualua talking and laughing intimately. She secretly hid in the corner and cried because of homesickness. Later, Grandpa found her, took her hand, and went to the kitchen to cook a bowl of hot noodles for her. He told her not to cry, that this was her home. At that time, she was scolded by Zhuang Lingyu more and more flustered. She did everything she asked of her, so Grandpa took some time out of his busy schedule. When he came back at night, he called her to the study and taught her patiently over and over again. She never came back after she left the Ning family. Grandpa didn't know what happened at that time. He was not in good health, and Ningxi was afraid that he would be upset, so she never told him about it. Grandpa once came to the country to find her and take her back, but she refused. She still remembered the disappointed look in his eyes. At this moment, Ningxi actually didn't know how to face the old man. Ning Ziyuan probably still minded that she didn't want to go home, so he didn't look very good and kept a straight face. In the end, Ning Tianxin had no choice but to break the deadlock. She ran over, took Ningxi's hand, and pulled her to Grandpa. Xiaoxi, what are you waiting for? Say something. Ning Tianxin reminded her helplessly. After all, Ningxi was no longer a timid little girl. After a short moment of absent-mindedness, she quickly came to herself and immediately rushed over to give Grandpa a big hug. Grandpa, I missed you so much. Ning Ziyuan was a little dazed by his granddaughter's warm hug, and then he snorted. I didn't know you missed me. Did you miss me for so many years without coming back? Although his tone was still very bad, his expression had obviously softened. Ningxi giggled. Grandpa, I'm studying hard. Didn't you teach me that knowledge can change my fate? All these years, I have been diligently following your teachings and studying with all my might. You. Ning Ziyuan's face was filled with helplessness. His cloudy eyes scrutinized the girl in front of him, whom he could barely recognize. He muttered, You've changed. Not only her appearance, but also her personality and temperament. He had only seen her for a short time, but he discovered that the changes in his granddaughter over the years had surprised and delighted him. Ningxi tilted her head and asked deliberately, What changed? Did I become prettier? Grandpa Shang was amused by her. You've become prettier and more cheerful. That's good. It seems that the foreign environment is helpful to you. She was Ning Ziyuan's only consolation. All these years, the person he felt the most guilty about was this granddaughter. After chatting for a while, Ning Ziyuan suddenly got to the point. Xiaoxi, Grandpa taught you to study hard, but did he also teach you to do the right thing at the right time? And you, Tianxin, listen to Grandpa's words. You too, at your age, the most important thing to do at this age is to find a good man to marry, and then have a big fat boy. I understand that you young people are busy. If you don't have time to take care of your children, Grandpa can take care of them for you, so you don't have to worry about them. Chapter 552. Ning Shi and Ning Tianxin looked at each other helplessly. Ning Tianxin wasn't good with words, so Ning Shi had to speak. Grandpa, stop it. You can't be like this. We haven't seen each other for so many years, and you're rushing me to get married as soon as I come back. Do you know what the least adorable grandpa looks like? He's the grandpa who urges me to get married. Grandpa Ning glanced at her. Then do you know what the least adorable granddaughter looks like? You're like this. You're always out, and you don't even let me have a grandson. I'm already 70 years old. How many years do I have left? Ningxi was speechless. She was digging her own grave. Ning Ziyuan glanced in the direction of the banquet hall. Thinking of something, he looked at his two granddaughters and said earnestly, "You too. I didn't force you. I had no other choice but to do this. The Ning family doesn't even have a male grandson in your generation. Who are you going to hand over the family business? Do you want me to hand it over to Ning Xuelua, who isn't related to me by blood, and your second uncle's two illegitimate daughters?" Ning Shi and Ning Tianxin's expressions turned serious when they heard their grandpa's words. Ning Shi would never get married. She would never get married, let alone give birth to a grandson for her grandpa to inherit the Ning family business. Ning Tianxin already had someone in her heart, but they missed each other. After so many years, she couldn't accept anyone else, nor could she fulfill her grandpa's wish. Ning Tianxin's father, Ning Shi's second uncle, Ning Yaobang, originally wanted to force Ning Tianxin to get married so that she could give birth to an heir as soon as possible. However, Ning Tianxin, who looked weak, was too stubborn. She refused and even threatened to kill herself. Therefore, in the past 2 years, Ning Yaobang not only kept having children outside, but also urged his two illegitimate daughters to give birth to an heir as soon as possible. As for Ning Xuelua, even though she wasn't her biological daughter, they had already discussed it with the Su family. Ning Xuelua's first son would be surnamed Ning. Ning Yaohua and Ning Yaobang had been secretly competing against each other all these years. Ning Yaohua's biggest leverage was Ning Xuelua's influence in the Su family's marriage. Ning Yaobang's biggest leverage was that although he did not have any sons, his 3 daughters were his own. No matter who gave birth to a son, he would be the heir of the Ning family. Ning Shi and Ning Tianxin didn't know how to answer their grandpa. They couldn't say yes, but they didn't want to hurt him. At this moment, a familiar voice came from behind him. "Dad, a group of people is waiting for you inside. Why did you come to the backyard?" You. Ningxi. As Zhuang Lingyu spoke, she saw someone standing next to Ning Ziyuan and Ning Tianxin. Seeing that it was Ning Shi, Zhuang Lingyu's face changed and she snapped, "What are you doing here? There are so many guests at home today. What if you offend an important guest? Get out of here." Before Ning Shi could speak, Grandpa Shang was the first to get angry. "How dare you? Xiaoxi is my granddaughter. Who allowed you to drive her away?" Zhuang Lingyu panicked and looked behind her. Dad, lower your voice." "Lower my voice? Did I say something wrong? Isn't Xiaoxi your daughter?" Ning Ziyuan was even angrier when he saw her evasive look. Chapter 553. Being scolded, Zhuang Lingyu secretly glared at Ning Shi and then explained to Ning Ziyuan in a soft voice, "Dad, I didn't mean that. You know, no one knows that Cici is mine. I told you early in the morning to announce Cici's identity as soon as possible. Cici was studying abroad before, but now she's back. Since everyone is here today, you tell everyone that Cici is a member of the Ning family." Zhuang Lingyu looked horrified. "What? Dad, I can't do that. I won't agree." She looked as if Ning Shi was some extremely terrible and disgusting poisonous snake or beast. In the past, when Ning Shi had just returned to China, she would have been heartbroken to see her biological mother like this, but fortunately, her last hope for them had long disappeared. Ning Tianxin didn't know Ning Shi's psychological changes over the years and held her hand with distress. Feeling the delicate and soft touch in her palm, Ning Shi's heart warmed and she smiled at Ning Tianxin. That smile was as gentle and bright as the sun, breathtakingly beautiful. This reaction was completely unexpected to Ning Tianxin and she froze for a moment. Ning Ziyuan and Zhuang Lingyu didn't talk for long and several people came up behind them. They were Ning Yaohua, Ning Xuelua, Ning Yaobang, and his two illegitimate daughters. Except for Ning Yaobang's wife, who had a tense relationship with him recently, all the members of the Ning family were here. What's wrong? Why are you quarreling? Ning Yaohua asked with a frown. As soon as he saw Ning Shi, his face immediately darkened. Why are you here? He was wondering why his wife quarreled with his father. Sure enough, every time this girl appeared, something bad would happen. Seeing her husband, Zhuang Lingyu immediately went up to him nervously and said hurriedly, Yaohua, please stop them. Dad is going to announce Cici's identity today. Ning Yaohua was shocked. How can you do that? Dad, are you muddle-headed? Damn it. Did this girl say something to you? Ning Yaohua's eyes shot at Ning Shi like a sharp arrow. Ning Ziyuan hit his crutch hard. Don't slander Xiaoxi. This is my idea. Tell me, what's wrong with it? That's right. Why not? Isn't Ning Shi your son? Behind him, Ning Yaobang said leisurely. His sarcastic tone angered Ning Yaohua. Shut up. This is none of your business. Ning Yaohua's arrogant attitude irritated Ning Yaobang. He immediately said with a gloomy face, Big brother, I don't like what you said. I'm also a member of the Ning family. How can I have nothing to do with it? Damn it. It's just managing a company. What's so great about it? It's not like I'm getting shares. How dare he shout at him in front of so many people? However, who asked him to have a good daughter? Not only did he pull in so many resources for him, he even found himself a good son-in-law. Was it really as Master Long said, that Ning Shuolua was Ning Yaohua's lucky star? Damn it! Ning Yaohua was so lucky that he took the wrong daughter and brought back a gold ingot. Fortunately, his biological daughter was a good-for-nothing. He couldn't wait for Ning Shi to come back and make Ning Yaohua a mess. 5 years ago, he really saw a lot of good things. Thinking about it made him excited. Chapter 554. Ning Yaohua ignored Ning Yaobang. His top priority was to appease Grandpa Ning. Dad, it's not that I don't want to announce it. It's just that it's too hasty. At first, we told the public that she was an adopted daughter, but now she suddenly became our biological daughter. There must be a reasonable reason. If we don't handle it well, won't we become a laughing stock? Today is your birthday banquet. If something happens, it will be too embarrassing. Hasty. Hasty. It's been 5 years. You didn't take this matter to heart at all. Why didn't I take it to heart? As soon as Xiaoxi came back, I asked her to arrange a job for her. I was going to let her integrate into the Ning family step by step, and then naturally announce her identity. It was she who insisted on going to the entertainment circle. Now she not only got herself involved in scandals, but also got Shuelua into trouble several times. In fact, he had never thought about revealing Ning Shi's identity at all. The terrible scandal that Ning Shi had sex with 2 male prostitutes and gave birth to a stillborn baby was like a time bomb hanging over his head all the time. If one day this matter was exposed, he could never let others know that Ning Shi was his biological daughter. Ning Ziyuan didn't believe his son so easily this time. Find a job? Tell me, what kind of job did you arrange for Xiaoxi? New. Singapore branch, you bastard. Xiaoxi has just come back, and you want to send her so far away again. What do you want Xiaoxi to do in that lousy company of more than 20 people? I'm letting her gain experience, aren't I? I can't just directly put her in the head office. Xiaoxi is my biological granddaughter. Why not? Xiaoxi, you go to the head office tomorrow, to the finance department. Behind him, Ning Shuelua, who had been silent for a long time, finally changed her face when she heard this. From the beginning, what she wanted most was to enter the head office of Ning's, but her identity was too special. If she entered the head office, it would be too easy to arouse suspicion, so she did the opposite. Even if Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu took the initiative to propose, she always declined, saying that she did not covet anything of the Ning family. In the end, Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu loved her even more, and even the old man had nothing to say to her. As for Ning Yaobang's 2 illegitimate daughters, Grandpa Su was annoyed. They were not a threat at all. Although Ning Tianxin was a legitimate child, She was so infatuated with a man that her mind was not at home. Therefore, Grandpa Su was not worried at all. When she married into the Su family and had enough capital, everything in the Ning family would be hers sooner or later. But now, everything that she had painstakingly built up for so many years was on the verge of collapse because of Ning Shi's sudden appearance. How could she tolerate it? Not only did Ning Yaohua, Zhuang Lingyu, and Ning Shualua's expressions changed, even Ning Yaobang was furious. Dad, are you kidding me? She graduated from a diploma mill and had no work experience at all. How could they let her enter the finance department? If she wants to enter, it should be Tianxin, or Xiaoru, and Xiao AI can also do it. Second brother, don't be afraid that the wind will cut your tongue. It's true that Tianxin graduated from a university in the capital, but she majored in art, which has nothing to do with the finance department. What else can your two illegitimate daughters do except dress up? Are you trying to make trouble in the company by putting her in the finance department? Dad said last time that when Shualua got married, he would let her enter the finance department. Chapter 555. Ning Yaohua wanted his daughter to join the company, but he wanted Ning Shui to join the company, not Ning Shi. For him, it was a disaster for Ning Shi to join the company. He didn't mind losing face at home, but if he lost face to the whole company, how could he face others? Furthermore, he had solemnly vowed to the Su family that in the future Shui Luo would be the one to inherit the family business. While they were quarreling, Zhuang Lingyu walked up to Ning Shi, pulled her hard, and gritted her teeth. Why are you still standing here? Hurry up and leave. The house was originally fine, but when you came, it became so noisy. Did you think that on a day like your grandfather's birthday, you would also make a fuss? Although Ning Shi looked indifferent, Ning Tianxin couldn't bear it anymore. Even though she was not good with words, she couldn't help saying, Aunt, your words are biased. Xiaoxi just came to see Grandpa. In order not to disturb you, she even asked me to take Grandpa to the backyard to see him. She didn't say a word or do anything from beginning to end. How could it be her fault? She didn't do anything. It's enough that she just showed up here. Besides, we don't need an outsider like you to meddle in our affairs. At the same time, in the president's office of Lu's group, 2 hours had passed, but Ning Shi hadn't come back yet. Xiaobao was leaning against the window as usual, and even Lu Tingxiao began to look at his cell phone frequently. Lu Jingli looked at the father and son, as if he couldn't stand it anymore. Hey, can you two calm down? We haven't seen each other for only 2 hours, okay? Another 5 minutes passed, but she still didn't come back. Lu Tingxiao picked up his phone and dialed Ning Shi's number. However, no one answered. In the Ning's villa, the cell phone in Ning Shi's bag suddenly rang. She looked at the caller ID and found it was Lu Tingxiao. It had been more than 2 hours. He was probably asking her when she would go back. At this time, the Ning family was quarreling. It was not convenient for Ning Shi to answer the phone, so she walked up to her furious grandfather and said softly, Grandpa, let's talk about other things another day. I just came to see you today. I have something urgent to do, so I have to go back. Happy birthday. What urgent matter? Why are you leaving so soon? When the old man heard this, he immediately became anxious. Don't mind these bastards. With Grandpa here, no one can chase you away. Ning Shi gently stroked the old man's back, which was undulating because of excitement. Grandpa, I'm really busy recently. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come to see you in such a hurry. Xiaoxi, it's Grandpa's fault for making you feel wronged. Ning Ziyuan thought she was comforting him and that she was in a hurry to leave because Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu's attitudes were too sad, so he was immediately filled with guilt. Ning Shueluan knew it was going to be bad when she saw the old man's expression. Although Ning Yaohua was in charge of the Ning family, the shares were still firmly held in the hands of the old man. If he favored Ning Shi, it would be troublesome. What she was most afraid of was the guilt the old man felt towards Ning Shi. After all, Ning Shi was his own flesh and blood. No matter how unbearable and dirty Ningxi was, she could destroy what she had been working for years with just a soft word. Just because of the damn bloodline? Just because she didn't have the blood of the Ning family, she had to work 1,000 times harder to get what Ning she could easily get. Chapter 556. If Ningxi got the inheritance, what would happen to her? She couldn't bear the thought of going back to that remote village and living a poor life every day. Even if the Ning family didn't drive her away, she couldn't bear to be submissive to Ningxi in the future. She was the lady of the Ning family. She was born as the lady of the Ning family. Why did this bitch take everything away? Yes, she was the lady of the Ning family, the only lady of the Ning family. Even her bloodline couldn't change that. Ning Xuelua took a deep breath and calmed down. She walked over and took Ningxi's arm, her voice trembling and her face full of anxiety. Sister, don't go, okay? Please don't be angry with Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad have been arranging for your identity to be revealed, but you don't want to come back or come to the company. Blame me. It's all my fault. You can beat me or scold me. If you really don't want to see me, I'll leave now. But sister, please don't go. Even if you don't want to see us, think about Grandpa. Grandpa really misses you. You should at least have a piece of Grandpa's birthday cake before you go, right? No matter how urgent it is, it can't be more important than Grandpa's birthday. Ning Xuelua's words were so skillful. She blamed Ning Shi for not revealing her identity and not entering the company. At the same time, she showed how hard it was for her to live in the Ning family because of her awkward identity. Most importantly, she showed her filial piety to Grandpa. Zhuang Lingyu was distressed. Xuelua, what are you talking about? Where are you going? It's not you who should go. Seeing Ning Xuelua trying to persuade Ning Shi to stay, even Grandpa Ning's face eased a lot. He certainly wouldn't let Ning Xuelua go, but he tried to persuade Ning Shi again. Sissy, it's rare for you to come back. Stay a little longer. Looking at the old man's hopeful eyes, Ningxi was silent for a while and finally nodded. Okay. She definitely couldn't satisfy the old man about having a baby. She was destined to let down all the expectations and kindness of Grandpa. She couldn't be the lady of the Ning family, enter the company, or return to the Ning family. So at this moment, she couldn't bear to refuse such a simple request on his birthday. That's great. That's great. Come into the house. It's winter, and it's cold outside. Grandpa Ning's face brightened up. With the help of Ning Tianxin and Ning Shi, he happily entered the house. Ning Xuelua stood behind them alone, watching Ning Ziyuan being supported by Ning Tianxin and Ning Shi. A cold glint flashed in her eyes. Seeing that the old man was finally appeased, Zhuang Lingyu finally heaved a sigh of relief. With a face full of affection, she walked to Ning Xueluo and held her hand. Xueluo, you've been wronged. No matter what happened in the family, she was always so sensible and could always consider the big picture. Ning Yaohua also looked distressed. He sighed and said, Xueluo, don't take what he said to heart. Grandpa hasn't seen Xiaoxi for a long time, so he was a little excited and said those words casually. Now Dad has the final say in the company. Don't worry. Thank you, Mom, Dad. I understand. After comforting her grandpa, Ningxi took the time to reply to Lu Tingxiao, who had just called her. I'm going to stay with my grandpa for a while, so I may come back late. Take Xiaobao home first. I'll pick him up at the Platinum Palace later. In the office, Lu Tingxiao's face darkened when he saw this message. Lu Tingxiao knew very well that no matter how tough Ningxi looked, there was still a place that she couldn't touch, and that was the Ning family. He knew a little about what she had gone through when she was in the Ning family. Although Ningxi's message sounded easy, how could he let her be alone in that kind of place? Xiaoxi, I haven't seen you for so many years. You've really changed a lot. Ningxi raised an eyebrow. Really? 5 years ago, when she was discovered wearing a fake dress, she was as helpless as if she was standing naked in front of everyone. Under the ridiculing words and contemptuous gazes, she felt that her whole world was about to collapse. But now, in comparison, it seemed that the changes were indeed quite big. Chapter 558. In fact, before she came here, Ningxi was a little nervous and repulsed at the thought of meeting so many people who used to be in the Ning family circle. After all, the shadow of the past was so deep that it still appeared in her nightmares. However, when she really appeared here, when she was faced with the mockery of those people, including her biological parents and Ning Xuelua's usual hypocrisy, she did not feel the anxiety that she expected. She did not even feel angry or resentful. It turned out that time could really change a person. Before she realized it, she had already calmly faced the things that she once cared about the most. Yes, you're not only beautiful, but also confident. Your eyes are very charming. How should I put it? There's an indescribable power in them. It even gives me the feeling of a phoenix rising from the ashes. Ning Tianxin said excitedly, and then she felt sorry for her. A person couldn't change for no reason. Ningxi didn't know what she had been through to become like this. 5 years ago, Ning Tianxin suddenly went abroad. She always felt it was strange, but she didn't want to ask. Ningxi chuckled and held her chin. Cousin, you're so artistic when you compliment me. I'm serious, Ning Tianxin said. Ningxi took a sip of wine and sighed. Alas, love leads to worry, and love leads to fear. If you leave your lover, you won't have any worries or fears. Maybe it's because you don't care anymore, so you naturally become like this. You can be strong without desire. Hearing this, Ning Tianxin's face turned pale. Xiaoxi, don't be so stupid. Why do I feel like you're saying that everything is void? Ahem. Ningxi didn't expect that she would scare Ning Tianxin. She hurriedly comforted her. Sister Xian, I'm just joking. Don't be nervous. Sweat. She was currently fascinated by the beauty of the great demon king. How could she escape into emptiness? It would be great if she could really be emptiness. Ningxi chatted with Ning Tianxin in a relaxed manner. The people who were talking about Ningxi's outfit saw that Ningxi didn't seem to care at all, and gradually stopped talking because of boredom. Their main task today was to please Ning Yaohua and the old man, not to pay attention to an insignificant adopted daughter. As night fell, more and more guests arrived, and the banquet hall became even livelier. Because Ning Yaohua had just made the old man unhappy, he was trying to please him in all kinds of ways. He had people bring out the birthday gift that he had long prepared. The gift he prepared was an exquisitely crafted red coral screen with 8 treasures. It was expensive, and everyone praised Ning Yaohua for his good taste and filial piety. The old man took a look and only said some polite words. He didn't look too happy and was obviously still angry. Ning Xuelua gave her father a reassuring look, and then glanced at Ningxi imperceptibly. Then she walked up to Grandpa Ning with a hollow carved wooden box in her hand. Grandpa, I wish you a happy birthday. This is the birthday gift I picked for you. I hope you like it. Seeing this, Zhuang Lingyu immediately said, Dad, hurry up and open it. Xueluo's company recently earned some money, and she used her own money to buy it for you. I said I would buy it for her, but she insisted on buying it herself. She said that was the only way to show her sincerity. Grandpa Ning took a look at his granddaughter, took the box from her hand, and slowly opened it. After seeing the gift in the box, he was moved. Inside the box was a jade bead bracelet. Chapter 559. Ning Yaohua's gift was a waste of money, but Ning Xuelua's gift showed that she had put a lot of thought into it. She knew that he loved jade and that he loved Buddha, so she chose a bracelet made of jade beads for him. Ning Xuelua stood quietly in front of him, while Ning Ziyuan looked at the bracelet carefully. Grandpa Ning's heart softened when he saw the uneasiness in her eyes. He had doted on Ning Xuelua since she was a child. Even when he found out that she wasn't his biological daughter, He had never mistreated her and treated her like his own granddaughter. He just couldn't stand the way his eldest son and daughter-in-law treated Ning Shi. Ning Ziyuan sighed deeply and softened his tone. Good girl, you're so considerate. I like this gift very much. Ning Xuelua looked relieved. Her eyes even turned red because of her grandpa's praise. She said excitedly, Grandpa, I'm glad you like it. Grandpa Ning felt sad when he saw the girl's true feelings. He couldn't bear to drag her down because of his son and daughter-in-law, so he said a few words of concern and encouragement. Career is important, but you have to take care of your health, especially a girl like you. Don't work too hard. Ning Xuelua nodded heavily and looked touched. I know, Grandpa. Seeing that their father's face had completely softened, Zhuang Lingyu and Ning Yaohua looked at each other and saw that Ning Xuelua's expression was full of pride. The relatives and guests also began to flatter Ning Xuelua. Wow, the quality of this bracelet is really good. It must be at least 2 or 3 million yuan, right? That's nothing. Xuelua's clothing brand, History, has made at least 10 million yuan this quarter. Plus, she's a superstar. Grandpa Ning, you're so lucky. Your children and grandchildren are so good and so filial. In the corner, Ning Shi, who was chatting with Ning Tianqin, frowned when she saw Ning Xuelua's gift for her grandpa. What a coincidence. Ning Xuelua's gift was the same as hers, a bracelet made of jade beads. While she was wondering, she suddenly saw Ning Xuelua secretly looking at her. Ning Xuelua's eyes fell on the gift on the table. She clearly knew what she was going to give Grandpa, so she deliberately chose the same one. Obviously, Ning Xuelua's bracelet was at least 10 times more expensive than hers. She wanted to make a fool of herself in front of everyone. As expected, Ning Xuelua secretly revealed a strange smile. She then obediently looked at the old man and said, Grandpa, I heard that my sister also prepared a gift for you. Ning Xuelua had an innocent expression on her face when she said that. It was as if she said it to make her grandfather happy. Now Ning Shi's identity had not been disclosed. She was just an adopted daughter. Even if she made a fool of herself, it had nothing to do with Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu. Not only that, but it could also make Grandpa hate her. It was the best of both worlds.